For centuries, the galaxy had been ruled by one voice, the Galactic Council. It was made of many alien races, each powerful in its own way. They controlled hundreds of worlds, set the laws, and decided who was safe and who was dangerous. The Council called this system peace. But for humanity, that peace was heavy like chains. Long ago, when humans first traveled the stars, the Council declared that humans were too aggressive, too unpredictable. They said humanity had the potential to destroy whole civilizations if left unchecked. So, special laws were made for humans, laws no other species had to follow. Humans were not allowed to build war fleets larger than a certain size. They were not allowed to expand into certain regions of space. Even weapons research was monitored closely. The Council said it was for safety, but everyone knew who they feared: the humans. At first, humanity obeyed. Earth signed the agreements, colonies nodded, and industries adjusted. People told themselves it was a price of survival. Better to bend than to be broken. But patience has limits. Generation after generation, humans swallowed the insults. Alien inspectors arrived unannounced, searching factories, interfering with military bases, and treating human leaders like children. Humanity endured it. But beneath the surface, resentment grew. And one day, that patience began to shatter. The story began with the arrival of a Council inspection ship in Earth's orbit. Sleek, silver, and covered with glowing symbols, it descended like a predator watching its prey. Every human on Earth knew what it meant: trouble. In the grand hall of Earth's united government, human leaders stood in silence as the alien inspectors marched in. Their leader was a tall, insectoid creature named Vector, known for his arrogance. He walked slowly, his sharp claws tapping against the polished floor. Behind him came other inspectors, their alien eyes cold and judging. "Humans," Vector said, his voice clicking through a translator device. "The Council demands answers. Reports speak of increased ship production in your colonies. This is not permitted. You are reminded your fleets are limited for a reason." The human leaders stayed calm, but the humiliation was sharp. The president of Earth tried to explain that the ships were only for trade, for exploration, not for war. But Vector only laughed. "You think the Council is blind? We know your nature. You wait for a chance to strike. You always wait." Every insult landed like a knife. Cameras broadcasted the scene across Earth, and billions of humans watched in silence as their leaders were mocked. No other race in the galaxy was treated this way. Only humans. Among the silent crowd of soldiers and officers standing at the edge of the hall, one young officer clenched his fists. His jaw was tight, his eyes cold. He leaned close to a commander and whispered words that would echo in history. "They've gone too far." That night, the alien inspectors returned to their ship. It rose into orbit, glowing in the darkness above Earth. Its scanners probed human communication networks, watching everything, listening to everything. In secret, human officers met in hidden rooms, voices low, faces grim. They were tired of being treated like criminals in their own home, tired of the chains the Council wrapped around them. Some argued for patience, others argued for war. But no one could ignore the truth anymore. The Council would never see humanity as equal. And then it happened. The next morning, alarms echoed across every station in Earth's orbit. The Council inspection ship had been destroyed. No warning, no signal. Just a bright flash of fire, then wreckage falling toward the atmosphere. Panic spread instantly. Human fleets rushed to investigate. Emergency transmissions filled the sky. The Council ship was gone, burned to ash. But who fired first? Some claimed it was a human defense platform, finally snapping after years of humiliation. Others whispered about secret weapons, long hidden in the dark. And some believed it was no human at all, that the ship had been destroyed from inside by forces unknown. The truth was unclear, but the Council did not care. To them, the message was enough. A Council ship had been destroyed above Earth, and in their eyes, humanity was guilty. In that single moment, centuries of fragile peace cracked like glass. The galaxy turned its gaze toward Earth. Whispers spread across alien worlds. Some races cheered in secret, hoping humanity would rise. Others trembled, fearing what was to come. And on Earth, billions of humans lifted their heads for the first time in generations. For too long they had been silent. For too long they had been patient. But patience does not last forever. The law had been forgotten, and humanity was ready to remind the galaxy why they were feared. For centuries, the Council had believed one thing: humans could be controlled. They thought rules and chains would keep Earth quiet. They thought humiliation would break human spirit. But they were wrong. The destruction of the inspection ship above Earth was like a spark in dry grass. No one knew who fired first. No one knew the truth. But to the galaxy, the truth did not matter. To the Council, humanity was guilty, and guilty meant punishment. On the shining world of Kali's, the seat of the Galactic Council, 1,000 alien voices shouted in anger. "They destroyed a Council ship," cried one delegate. "They must be punished before they spread chaos," shouted another. The Council chamber, a vast hall filled with banners of many alien species, roared with accusations. Every word echoed against the tall walls of stone and steel. Some called for war. Others demanded sanctions. But only a few voices spoke of caution. One elder alien, a reptilian scholar, raised his hand. "Be careful. If humanity truly destroyed that ship, then they have power greater than we imagined." His warning was ignored. The majority of the Council voted the same way. Humanity must be punished. Back on Earth, the news spread faster than fire. Billions watched broadcasts in shock, in fear, in anger. For years, humanity had been silent. Now, that silence broke. In the colonies of Mars and Europa, workers gathered in secret. They spoke of rebellion, of building fleets that the Council had forbidden. On Earth, in hidden bunkers, factories roared louder at night. Ships once meant for trade were being refitted with weapons. Engines were reinforced. Old designs were dusted off. Patience was ending. The insult of centuries had finally cut too deep. In the military command center beneath Geneva, human officers gathered around a table glowing with holograms. Among them was Admiral Marcus Hale, a man with cold eyes and a voice like steel. "They think we are weak," he said. "They think we will bend again. But if we do nothing, they will keep pressing, keep taking, until there's nothing left." Another officer asked, "But if we fight now, Admiral, can we win? Their fleets are vast. Their weapons are strong." Hale leaned forward. "We've been preparing for this day. Quietly, secretly, for decades. Our factories have not been idle. Our engineers have not been sleeping. The Council believes we obeyed their laws, but we obeyed only on the surface." The room fell silent as he pressed a button. A hologram appeared. Giant warships, larger than anything the Council believed humans could build. Their black steel hulls glowed with hidden power. The officers stared. One whispered, "God help us. We built a fleet in the shadows." Far away, on the colony world of Vestaprime, the sparks spread even faster. There, humans lived under daily alien patrols. Council soldiers walked the streets, their strange weapons always ready. For years, the humans on Vestaprime endured the humiliation. They bowed their heads, they paid heavy taxes, they followed the rules. But the news of the destroyed inspection ship reached them, and something changed. On a quiet night, alien patrols were ambushed. For the first time in generations, humans fought back openly. Stones and old rifles in human hands turned into the first cries of rebellion. It was small, it was desperate, but it was enough. The spark had turned into fire. The Council expected humanity to tremble in fear, but instead they saw silence, a dangerous silence. Colonies that once begged for mercy now sent no replies. Factories that once welcomed alien inspectors now shut their doors. Ships that once moved in the open sky now disappeared from sensors. In the darkness of space, something was moving. At first, the Council thought it was rumor. Then came reports. Strange energy readings near Jupiter. A fleet rising from the shadows. Massive engines igniting. Ships too large, too powerful to be trade vessels. When the first images arrived, the Council could no longer deny it. There it was, humanity's hidden fleet. Dark, silent, endless. On Earth, Admiral Hale stood aboard the flagship Erebus, staring at the stars. His voice was calm, but filled with fire. For centuries, they treated us like children. For centuries, they held us down. No more. They forgot one truth about humans. He looked at his crew, every man and woman ready, hearts burning with the same anger. We endure. We wait. But when patience ends, we strike. The command deck fell silent. Every officer knew what this meant. Every officer felt history turning in that moment. Above them, the hidden fleet burned brighter, engines thundering, weapons awakening. Humanity had been patient, but patience was over. The Galactic Council had laughed at humanity's anger. They thought Earth was loud but harmless, angry but weak. They believed humans would protest, then bend again. But they were wrong. The day the hidden human fleet revealed itself, the galaxy changed forever. In the darkness beyond Jupiter, massive shapes moved. Warships, black as night, awakened from their slumber. They had no names in council records, no registration in galactic law. But every human officer aboard them knew what they were, the weapons of patience. For decades, humans had obeyed the council's restrictions in public. Factories reported trade ships. Colonies claimed research stations. Inspectors were shown fake reports and empty hangars. But in secret, humanity was building. Every insult, every humiliation, every lost right had been turned into steel and fire. Now the hidden fleet rose, engines burning, weapons shining. The galaxy was watching. On the council homeworld, chaos spread through the great chamber. Delegates shouted, their voices trembling with fear. Impossible! They were forbidden to build fleets of this size. They deceived us. They have broken every law. They must be destroyed before they spread this rebellion. But beneath the shouting, one truth became clear. For the first time in centuries, the council was afraid. The council sent their answer quickly. A massive fleet of peacekeepers jumped into Sol system. Dozens of alien battleships, their banners shining, surrounded humanity's space. The aliens expected surrender. They expected fear. Instead, they found silence. No human ship moved. No human weapon fired. But the hidden fleet remained, steady and waiting. The alien commander sent his demand. Stand down. Submit. You have no chance. On the bridge of the Erebus, Admiral Marcus Hale stood tall. His voice, broadcast across space, was steady and sharp. Council ships, hear this warning. For centuries, you have chained humanity. You have mocked us, restricted us, and called it peace. But peace does not come from chains. We endured. We obeyed. We waited. And now, patience has ended. He leaned forward, his voice colder than steel. Step back, or we will show you why the galaxy once feared humans. The council laughed. The alien commander sneered. Bold words for a species on trial. You think we fear you? You think your hidden ships can match us? Humans, you always overestimate yourselves. We will remove your fleet in one strike. The order was given. Alien weapons locked on. Dozens of beams of energy lit the void, streaking toward the human ships. But the beams never reached their targets. At the last second, human ships activated shimmering barriers, shields unlike anything the Council had ever seen. The alien fire crashed against the barriers and vanished like smoke in the wind. The Council commander froze. Impossible! The humans did not fire back. Not yet. Admiral Hale gave one last warning. We will not strike first, but we will not fall. If you test us again, you will not return to tell the tale. Silence filled the void. The alien fleet regrouped. They prepared another volley. And then, suddenly, without warning, something impossible happened. Every alien ship froze. Lights flickered. Weapons died. Engines failed. The entire fleet went dark, drifting helplessly in space. On human sensors, the readings were clear. The alien ships had been disabled, completely, utterly, without destruction. Panic filled the alien crews. Their systems would not restart. Their weapons would not charge. And on every screen, one message appeared in plain human letters. This is your final warning. Hours later, fragments of alien ships were found drifting near Saturn. Not destroyed, simply abandoned. Crews missing. No bodies. No distress calls. Just silence. The Council received a report and trembled. The aliens who mocked humanity now vanished without explanation. Their powerful fleet, gone. Whispers spread like wildfire across the galaxy. What weapon did the humans use? Where did their power come from? Have they discovered technology beyond the Council's control? No one knew the answer, but everyone knew one truth. The Council had underestimated humanity for the last time. On the Erebus, Admiral Hale stood in silence. His officers looked to him, eyes filled with awe and fear. "Sir," one whispered, "what just happened out there? How did their ships vanish?" Hale's expression never changed. "Consider it a warning. The Council pushed too far, and now they know." His words were calm, but inside, even he wondered. For deep within humanity's secret projects, weapons have been built that few even in command fully understood. Weapons that reach beyond science into something greater. And now, the galaxy had seen the first glimpse. The Galactic Council had ruled the stars for centuries. They were the strongest, the oldest, the most powerful. To them, humanity was just one more species to control. But now, fear spread through the council halls. For the first time, the mighty council did not feel safe. The missing fleet haunted them. An entire armada of peacekeepers had entered Sol system. None had returned. Their ships were found drifting, lifeless, empty, crews gone, weapons useless. The wreckage carried no clues. Delegates shouted in the great chamber. Their voices, usually arrogant, now cracked with fear. What weapon did the humans use? They were forbidden from such power. If they can disable fleets as easily, none of us are safe. The chamber was chaos. Even those who once mocked humanity now whispered in shadows. If humans had truly mastered a weapon that could silence fleets without firing a single shot, then the balance of the galaxy was broken. And broken balance meant fear. On Earth, humanity watched the broadcast with a strange mix of pride and unease. For centuries they had been treated like children. Now the galaxy was terrified of them. But with fear came danger. Admiral Marcus Hale stood in the war room beneath Geneva, listening to reports from human colonies. His officers spoke quickly, their voices sharp with urgency. Council fleets are regrouping at the edge of human space. Alien patrols are pulling back from our colonies. Other species are reaching out to us quietly. Hale narrowed his eyes. Quietly? Yes, sir. Some races have lived under the Council shadow as we have. They see our defiance, and they are inspired. They whisper of alliances, of rebellion. The Admiral considered this carefully. Humanity's fight was no longer just about survival. It was about something bigger. The galaxy was watching. But while some admired humans, others feared them more than ever. On the Council world of Carlis, secret meetings were held in underground chambers. Military leaders, their faces grim, spoke of desperate plans. If humans have such a weapon, we must match it. We cannot allow them to rise. If one species breaks free, others will follow. We must strike before their power grows. The Council prepared something terrible, a massive invasion. Fleets 10 times larger than before. Ships from dozens of species gathered in hidden docks. They would crush humanity with overwhelming numbers. But to do this, they needed more than just ships. They needed to know how the humans' weapon worked. So they sent spies. On Mars, in the industrial city of New Oz, a stranger walked the streets. His face looked human, but his eyes glowed faintly. He was not human at all, but a shapeshifter of the Council. He moved through shadows, slipping past guards, entering factories and bases. For weeks, he searched, until one night, in a hidden bunker, he found what he was looking for, fragments of human weapon data. He transmitted it quickly, sending it across the stars to the Council. And with that, the Council gained their first piece of the puzzle. Back on Earth, Admiral Hale received a report too late. The spy was gone, vanished into the void. Human officers cursed their failure. "They'll use our own secrets against us," one whispered. "They think they've stolen everything," Hale said calmly. "But they have only fragments. Fragments can mislead. Let them try." His voice was calm, but inside he felt the weight. Humanity had revealed too much. Their enemies would not stop until they matched or destroyed this power. And the galaxy was moving toward war. Across alien worlds, whispers grew louder. On distant colonies, oppressed species cheered when they saw human ships. On trading stations, merchants spoke in hushed tones. The humans stood against the council. They destroyed fleets without firing. They are the spark of rebellion. But whispers alone could not stop the storm that was coming. In the deep reaches of space, the council's invasion fleet assembled. Hundreds of ships. Thousands. The largest armada the galaxy had ever seen. Their weapons glowed like stars, their engines thundered. And at the heart of it, a new weapon waited, designed using the stolen fragments of human data. A weapon built to counter humanity's hidden power. The Council prepared to strike. On Earth, humanity stood ready. The hidden fleet was no longer hidden. Shipyards roared with fire. Colonies worked day and night. Men and women lined up to fight. Their patience turned to steel. Admiral Hale looked at the stars and whispered, "They are afraid of us. Good. Let them fear. But fear makes enemies desperate. And desperate enemies are dangerous." Cliffhanger. Far beyond the edge of human space, the Council's massive invasion fleet ignited their engines. Thousands of ships turned toward Earth. The galaxy trembled. The war had begun. The galaxy stood at the edge of war. The Council's invasion fleet, vast and unstoppable, prepared to strike. Humanity's hidden strength was no longer secret. Fleets were ready, soldiers armed, factories alive with fire. But humanity had always known, the deadliest enemy is not always outside. Sometimes it hides within. Hook! For centuries, humans expected alien enemies. What they did not expect was betrayal from their own. In the underground command center beneath Geneva, Admiral Marcus Hale studied the stars glowing on the holographic map. Red markers showed the Council fleet assembling on the edge of human space. It was the largest armada ever seen. His officers waited silently. The tension was heavy. Hale finally spoke. "They are coming with everything they have. If we survive this, the galaxy will never be the same." Before anyone could answer, alarms flashed across the room. A voice shouted from the comm station. "Unauthorized transmission detected. It's coming from within our own network." Everyone froze. In a secret chamber of the orbital station Vanguard, a human figure stood before a transmitter. His name was Elias Ward, a wealthy industrialist who had once supplied Earth's colonies. He had lived in power and comfort, but in his heart, greed ruled him, and fear. Ward did not believe humanity could win. He believed resistance was suicide. To him, there was only one path to survival: submission. Now, his trembling hand sent encrypted codes directly to the Council. Defense layouts, fleet positions, security weaknesses, everything he had stolen from inside Earth systems. As the transmission completed, Ward whispered, "Forgive me, but humanity cannot win." The Council received his betrayal with cold delight. For years, they had searched for cracks inside human unity. Now they had found one. With Ward's stolen codes, they could bypass Earth's defenses, strike at hidden shipyards, disable secret stations. The invasion fleet adjusted its course. Their confidence returned. "This war will end quickly," one Council general hissed. "The humans think themselves strong. Soon, they will kneel again." But betrayal never stays hidden for long. Back on Vanguard, security teams stormed Ward's chamber. The traitor tried to escape, but soldiers dragged him out, his face pale, his eyes wide with panic. When Admiral Hale saw him on the screen, his voice was ice. "Elias Ward, you sold your own people." Ward's voice shook. "You don't understand. We cannot win. They will destroy us all. The Council cannot be beaten." Hale stepped closer to the camera, his jaw tight. "History will remember your name, Ward, but not as a savior, only as a traitor." The broadcast cut. Ward was taken away, but the damage was done. The Council already had the codes. They already knew parts of Earth's defense network. In the war room, Hale's officers spoke urgently. "So, if they use those codes, they'll breach our outer defenses before we're ready. They'll strike the shipyards. We'll lose half the fleet before the battle even begins." For a moment, silence filled the room. Then Hale's voice cut through like a blade. "Then we change the codes. We burn the old networks. We adapt faster than they expect. His officers saluted. Orders flew across the system. Engineers worked without sleep, changing protocols, rewriting defense systems. Humanity fought the betrayal with every tool they had. But the Council was not finished. Using Ward-stolen information, they built something new, a weapon designed to counter the strange human technology that had silenced their fleets. It was untested, dangerous, but they were desperate. Deep inside their massive armada, the weapon waited. Meanwhile, on Earth, people felt the betrayal like a knife. News of Ward's treachery spread fast. Anger boiled in the streets. Some shouted for his execution. Others whispered in fear, wondering how many more traitors were hiding among them. But not all was despair. Across the colonies, humans rallied even harder. If one man betrayed them, 1,000,000 more swore loyalty. Soldiers trained longer. Engineers worked faster. Families donated everything to the war effort. The betrayal, instead of breaking them, hardened their resolve. Humanity had been pushed too far. And now, nothing could stop their fury. Cliffhanger. In the cold void beyond Neptune, human scouts detected movement. Their faces turned pale as they watched the readings. The Council's invasion fleet, thousands of ships, had entered human space. And at its center, a weapon pulsed with strange energy, built from humanity's own stolen secrets. The invasion had begun. The stars over Neptune burned with the fire of war. The Council fleet had crossed into human space. Thousands of warships advanced in perfect formation, their engines glowing like an endless storm. At the heart of the armada, a strange weapon pulsed with deadly light. For humanity, there was no more waiting. The war had begun. Hook! The Council believed their overwhelming numbers would crush humanity in one swift strike. But what they did not know was that Earth had prepared for this very moment. In the command center aboard the flagship Resolute, Admiral Marcus Hale stood at the front of the bridge. His officers watched him, tense but ready. Status report. Hale demanded. Council fleet is moving into range, an officer replied. They outnumber us 5-1. Hale's eyes narrowed. Good. Let them come closer. For weeks, humanity had hidden its true weapons. The Council thought they understood Earth's defenses after the betrayal of Elias Ward, but Hale had deliberately left false trails in the stolen codes. The information Ward had given was real, yet incomplete. Humanity had kept its deadliest cards hidden. Now, the moment had come to reveal them. Far above Neptune's icy rings, space shimmered. Massive structures began to awaken, their black holes rising from the shadows. They were the Aegis platforms, secret orbital fortresses humanity had built in silence. Each was armed with colossal rail cannons capable of tearing apart battleships with a single shot. Council ships moved forward confidently, unaware of what awaited them. Then Admiral Hale raised his hand. Fire! The void exploded with light. The first rail slug ripped through a Council dreadnought, splitting it in half like paper. A second fortress fired, obliterating a cruiser. The armada staggered in shock as 1, 2, 5, 10 of their warships vanished in moments. Panic spread across their comms. Impossible! Humans should not have this firepower. But humanity did. And for the first time in galactic history, the Council fleet, the fleet that had enslaved countless worlds, was on the defensive. Inside the alien flagship, General Theros roared in fury. His claws dug into the command chair as explosions rocked his fleet. They tricked us. The traitors' codes were false, he shouted. One of his aides trembled. But, General, the weapon is ready. Shall we use it? Theros' eyes burned. Yes. Release it. Let the humans taste fear. At the center of the fleet, the Council's secret weapon activated. A wave of strange energy burst outward. It was not fire, nor plasma, nor rail slugs. It was something darker, a pulse designed to scramble human ships, to tear their systems apart from the inside. Across the battlefield, alarms screamed. On the Resolute, lights flickered. Officers shouted as systems failed. They are jamming our networks. Our shields are collapsing. We're losing control. Hale's jaw tightened. This was a weapon built from Elias Ward's betrayal. The Council had learned from human technology and twisted it into something monstrous. For a moment, the human fleet faltered. But humanity had one last secret. Dr. Ilara Voss, the scientist who had uncovered the mystery of the first alien fleet silence, appeared on the holo screen. Her calm voice cut through the chaos. "Admiral, activate protocol blackout." Hale nodded. "Do it." Across the fleet, human ships disconnected from their main networks. Automated systems shut down. For a heartbeat, it looked like the fleet had gone dark, dead in space. But then, one by one, lights flickered back on. Crews took manual control. Human pilots seized the helm, their hands steady, their eyes hard. The alien weapon had been designed to break machines, but it could not break the will of human beings. The battle turned again. Human ships dove through the chaos, striking at weakened alien vessels. Fighters swarmed like angry wasps, tearing into council lines. The Aegis platform continued to fire, each shot shaking the void. The council, for the first time, felt true fear. On Earth, the battle was broadcast live. Billions watched with bated breath as the council fleet burned. Children, elders, workers, soldiers, all saw their people fighting back against the most powerful empire in the galaxy, and hope spread like fire. Humanity had always been underestimated, but now the galaxy would learn the truth. Humans would not kneel. Cliffhanger. As Admiral Hale's fleet pushed forward, sensors picked up something terrifying. Beyond the council armada, beyond even the weapon pulsing in the dark, a second wave of ships emerged. Larger, darker, more advanced. This was not just the council fleet. This was the entire force of the Galactic Council, summoned for one purpose, to erase humanity from existence. The first strike had begun, but the war was only just starting. The void shook with something older than the council. The giant construct, black, ancient, alive, rose behind the alien fleet. Its size dwarfed even dreadnoughts. Its weapons glowed with unnatural fire, power beyond science, beyond reason. For a moment, both sides, human and alien, fell silent. And then, the galaxy's oldest nightmare awoke. Hook! The war with the council was brutal. But now, a hidden enemy revealed itself. Humanity's last stand had become something greater, a battle for existence itself. On the Resolute, alarm screamed. Dr. Ilara Voss stared at the readings, her voice shaking. This structure is not council-made. It's far older, some kind of ancient war machine. Admiral Marcus Hale narrowed his eyes. And the council knew. Ilara nodded grimly. Yes, they didn't just come to destroy us. They came to keep us from awakening this. The realization cut through the fleet. Humanity had been pushed, cornered, broken, because the council feared what humans might discover. Now, that secret stood before them. The construct's first strike lit the stars. A single beam sliced through space, vaporizing a dozen council ships in one shot. Even the mighty armada trembled. Council General Theros snarled in fury. No, that thing should have remained sealed. But it was too late. The ancient weapon turned again, this time targeting human ships. A beam of raw energy slashed across the battlefield, shredding two destroyers instantly. Admiral Hale gripped his console. If that thing stays active, both sides are finished. In chaos, a strange truth emerged. For the first time, humans and council forces were struck by the same enemy. Hale opened a wide comm channel, his voice booming across the void. Council ships, listen to me. That weapon doesn't care who you are. Human or alien, it will destroy us all. If you want to live, fight with us. Silence followed. Then, scattered voices replied. He's right. The construct is firing on everyone. We cannot win alone. For the first time in history, council captains lowered their weapons, not against humans, but against the true enemy. Dr. Voss worked furiously at her console. I think I can overload its core, but I need time. And cover. Hale didn't hesitate. Then we'll buy it for you. Human and alien ships, enemies only minutes before, now moved side by side. Fighters swarmed against the construct's drones. Battleships poured fire into its armor. Every second was bought with blood. Captain Reyes, leading his battered squadron, grinned through the pain. Never thought I'd see the day I was flying alongside lizards, he muttered. Then he locked onto the construct's weak point. Let's give him hell. His fighter struck, blowing apart massive drone swarms. But the ancient weapon was not so easily defeated. Its core flared brighter. One colossal beam charged, aimed directly at Earth itself, across light years. Billions of humans on the home world watched the warning screens. Children held their parents' hands. Soldiers stood ready with no way to fight. If the beam fired, Earth would be nothing but dust. Ilara! Hale shouted. Now! Dr. Voss screamed as she sent the final command. The codes activated. The construct power began to spiral out of control. Energy crackled across its surface, unstable, violent. But it was not enough. The beam still built power. Only one choice remained. Admiral Hale looked at his crew. Prepare the Resolute for collision course. The bridge froze. Sir, no. You won't survive. Hale's eyes softened, but his voice was firm. If this is humanity's reckoning, then let it be mine. Earth must live. Go. Carry the fight forward. The Resolute charged. Engines burned white-hot. The flagship slammed into the construct's weapon core just as the beam reached its peak. The stars themselves seemed to scream. Light swallowed the battlefield. When the fire cleared, the construct was gone. Only drifting ruins remained. The Council fleet, broken and scattered, fled into the dark. Humanity had survived, but Admiral Marcus Hale was gone with his ship. On Earth, billions wept and cheered at once. Their world still stood. Humanity was blooded, scarred, but free. Dr. Ilara Voss stood before the surviving fleet, her voice steady. Remember this day. They called us dangerous. They were right, but not because we destroy, because we endure. Because when pushed too far, humanity does not kneel. Humanity fights. Her words echoed across the stars. Cliffhanger closing note for audience. The Council retreated, but not destroyed. The galaxy now knew humanity's strength. And in the silence of space, whispers began. If humans could defeat the Council's armada and survive an ancient weapon, what would they do next? The age of fear was over. The age of humanity had begun.